So Hodinkee almost did it. Hodinkee almost listened to my recommendations to focus more on the watches. They have been doing this for some time. As you know, if you've been in the watch community for a while, and perhaps you saw my previous video where I talked about some of the strange things that Hodinkee has published over the last few years that have caused many collectors to be rather confused, seeking other forms of watch media, including YouTube, other blogs, Teddy Baldessar on his written form content as well. Nonetheless, Hodinkee recently released another article for Father's Day that is just bizarre. Now, in no way am I trying to attack the people, because I do understand they have a difficult job that they're faced with. There are so many news sources for watches today. There's so many places where collectors can go to scratch their itch for content, and obviously they have big shoes to fill, and people have been leaving the team, including someone recently who has left, which has left this big content gap, I believe, for Hodinkee. And so in this video today, we're going to go through an article that they published for Father's Day that's called Staff Picks the Watches We Wish Were Our Dads. That's right. Imagining if your father was a watch. So let's jump right into it. Oh, actually, before we do that, on the wrist today, I have an Omega Seamaster GMT that I had customized by a guy called the Dial Artist out of the UK. His name is Chris. It's a Mickey Mouse. It's just phenomenally decorated here. I'll put a picture here so you can see what I'm talking about. But I sent it over to him because he has these awesome designs. I'm in no way connected with him. I just think he does a phenomenal job. I was very impressed, and he really decked out this watch that I kind of just wanted to see what he could do with it. So make sure to check him out over on Instagram. There'll be a link in the description below for the Dial Artist. So let's jump into it. The article here, and we'll roll through it, is The Watches We Wish Were Our Dads. Now, let's just take a little bit of an excerpt here and read this so we can kind of backfill a little bit of narrative of why they did this, right? Imagining that your father is a watch. I asked for more watch content, but I didn't ask them to make it so weird and strange, right? Nonetheless, they write, I thought it would be fun to ask a handful of the Hodinkee staff to weigh in on dad adjacent, whatever that means, round of staff picks. Given that we're running some other fatherly stories that have been more of a serious tone, I thought it might be fun to get a little bit silly, and I tasked my colleagues with thinking of a watch that they would want as their father. Yes, people want pieces of metal as their father. What? If that is the case, your mom is even weirder than the people writing this at Hodinkee, where your father is a piece of metal. Strange. Let's jump into it. Let's see what the staff picks. So there's a Malika Crawford, and she says that essentially her father is a Gerald Genta octagonal GLP minute repeater. Okay, that is strange. Is your father the Sultan of Brunei? Look at the picture of this watch. Who do you have to be to wear? I can't even. What are people doing at Hodinkee? Are they sitting around micro-dosing mushrooms or macro or mega-dosing mushrooms to kind of get into the headspace to even fathom and think of something so abstract and obscure as picturing your father as a gold-embellished, high-end, independent manufacturer watch that goes to an auction house? Like, where are we in watch journalism to where this is a thing? I would love to see actually what the readership of this particular article looks like. I want to see the stats because it is strange. But going on, let's look at the next one. I mean, I don't even want to read what she has to say for the rest of this because it's just bizarre. Granted, she's tasked with a bizarre thing to respond to, but nonetheless, bizarre. Next, Tony Trena, who I actually really like. Really nice guy, sharp, knows his watches. He said that potentially his father would be a Tudor Pelagos 39. I don't know what that's supposed to exactly mean, so we'll go through here. He says, this exceedingly odd prompt was dreamt up by my exceedingly odd boss. Okay, finally, someone reasonable that I know that acknowledges that this is strange. I love that he started his write-up in this article with that, so at least you can tell he's not buying into the huffing of what's going on over at Hodinkee. I love it. I actually kind of like the Tudor Pelagos 39. Not as a father, though. Definitely good to have a human father as a father. Next, this person, Rich Forden, He says his father is an MB&F legacy machine perpetual calendar. Now, does everyone think their father is just so incredibly complicated except for Tony here? Why does everyone think that their father is several $100,000 and in the form of a watch, high-end independent manufacturer here? What is the deal? Does no one have a Datejust as a father? That's kind of the Datejust watch, right? Blows my mind further. So let's see here. He says, of all complications, a perpetual calendar best describes fathers. Oh, really? At first glance, there's a lot going on, and at first interaction, must don't know how to interact with the perpetual calendar. Yet, compared to tourbillons or minute repeaters, a perpetual calendar is barely a complication. Ox and Jr. created one using just 9 additional parts, and when given a quick how-to, it's easy to understand which buttons to push to get everything set correctly. Fathers, too, can be more simple than they present. Who has some kind of crazy, complicated father? It's never the case that I've seen. Guys tend to be pretty simple, especially in fatherhood. They're busy working, they come home, they play with the kids a little bit, talk to the wife, they go to bed, they do it again for 40 years. Where's the complication? Where's the nuance? Do you have a pop singer as a father? Do you have an artist as a father? Who are these people? I don't get it. Next, we have Tan Wang, which says his father is this G-Shock. Now, I can actually resonate with that. I think that's reasonable. A rugged, durable plastic watch where it doesn't matter if you beat it up. It's going to keep moving tomorrow. It's quartz-driven. It's battery-operated. It's simple, unlike the other watches we've mentioned here where people kind of just pulled out their grail out of a wet dream and said, hey, this is my dad. He's this super high-end watch. This person, Tan Wang, is a reasonable person. Would love to meet them. Now, rolling on, we have a Mark, and he says his father is a Gerald Genta retro fantasy Mickey Mouse golf. Now, I have a Gerald Genta Mickey Mouse watch that I really love. I mean, I'm wearing a Mickey Mouse watch too, an Omega. It's obviously aftermarket dial, designed at least. And so I'm not shy to the Mickey Mouse watches, but I'm curious what he has to say about why his father is a Mickey Mouse watch. There could be an interesting story behind this, unlike the others. But he starts right away, his article right here. In 2nd grade, my parents took me to Disney World in Florida. So he remembers his dad. He took it a little bit different. He didn't necessarily follow the prompts and say, my dad is complicated and this and that. And, that's why my dad is like a gear inside of a watch ticking at this many. What? This person actually has some thoughtful thinking behind their choice. I like to see it. I'm not going to read the rest of the article because I think they've gone ahead and proven themselves. Interesting story, kind of reminding them of their father. And I believe we have more of this. How many people here bought into this nonsense? We have a Rolex 8171 by Aaron Wilborn. Okay, let's just pull something out of Rolex's obscure catalog of super rare watches that only go to auction, that you can't put your hands on ever once again, and say it's just like my dad. How special. My dad belongs in a Christie's catalog. Rolling on, we have an A. Longzona Langmatic Big Date by a Jonathan McWhorter. Very cool watch. I like it. But I'm not exactly sure where they're going with this. They say the assignment was to select a watch that I wish was my dad. But to be honest with you, I could think of no watch aside from the one that my dad doesn't even wear, the Rolex Datejust 16220 with the silver tapestry dial, engine turned bezel, and Jubilee bracelet. Fits my dad so much to a T that I've already had an answer to the question that hadn't been asked. Yeah, I mean, that's reasonable. I don't know why he changes it and says, hey, the classic dad watch. No, let's make him a Langomatic. What's the deal there? Leave it the Datejust. That's what dads wear. They retire, they get the Datejust. What are we doing here with the Langomatic? Anyway, one last reasonable person here. They chose the Hamilton Khaki Field Automatic. I get the theme here. People in this article either chose something rugged and durable that's going to be reliable and dependable, or some people in the article chose something that was fantasy. Now, I certainly don't want to draw any conclusions about their family lives, and that would be just rude, so I won't do that. And something interesting that I picked up here in the comment section is someone left a comment that says, imagine your father was a watch. All right, this is peak time for therapy. And one of the moderators here, or the staff of Hodinkee rather, responds with staff picks. What watch is best to time your therapy sessions, prompted by the article where you imagine your father as a watch. This headline is a bit long, but I like it, coming next week. So clearly, when I see something like this, it shows, and at least to me, it leads me to believe that, yeah, the people that work at Hodinkee are kind of scraping for content. They have obviously a divide in the staff between the people that are hardcore watch enthusiasts and the people that are a little nuanced, a little out there, a little, avant-garde, rule-breaking, kind of think in the cloud, pie in the sky people. And it does seem like a bit of a clash here, but I do think overall, looking at Hodinkee, they're making more watch content. Hey, they tried with this one. It's a slip. This isn't any kind of attack. I just think it's kind of funny to see this stuff come out. I really don't care at the end of the day, what Hodinkee publishes, whatever. I have no connection with them. They could publish, top 10 worst watches to jump off a bridge for. Like, I don't really care. It's nice to see them come back if they do. It's interesting to follow. We're all collectors. We like to see what's going on in the space, talk about it, and that's what's awesome, right? We can all have our own opinions about watches, what we like, what we don't like, and we can all come on places like this to share and talk about that, and hopefully not get triggered or not get upset because someone said something they didn't like. Guys, we're probably all adults here, right? We can all have our opinions, but I think my opinion's pretty clear on the way that some of the content's going here, but I want to know, what do you have to say, and what do you think about all this? I'd love to see it in the comments below. Guys, please do not forget the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. I do appreciate it. Don't forget to check out the Dial Artist over on his page if you kind of like what he's doing. Very cool process over there. And we'll see you next time. You've been chatting with John P.